rid of any of them. There's two coins I think I'm never getting rid of. Is Bitcoin,
Dogecoin and Ethereum.
Tron, Bitcoin and Ethereum. I like I said, there's all kinds of ways of borrowing against it, using it, leveraging with it. There's just we'll just see. We'll see when the next halving comes.
Yeah.
What happens? Because I don't think this right here. I don't think that's going to stop.
No. Well, and like we just talked about, everybody's getting on board. People are going to see that the dollar's buying less and less.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going to adopt the peso, right?
No, not so much. Another thing I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit is these are two guys that I follow. Oh, this is Mark Moss, but this other guy right here, his name's George Gammon. And I don't know if you ever heard of either one of these guys. Never. Oh, you're missing so much good content. I mean, they got such good advice. He's they're just finance as a whole. If you wanted to learn what fractional reserve lending, banking, how this stuff works, how inflation, there's just a wealth of knowledge between these guys. But this particular video right here, they go in pretty deep with the Fed and inflation rates and what's to be expected. And these guys, they're really spot on. I mean, not it's not just a conspiracy theory kind of channel or anything like that. These guys are usually pretty accurate with their forecast.
Really?
And it's a great conversation. And I can't recommend them guys enough. Really, the George Gammon, especially Mark Moss, I like him too, but they go in deep. The Gammon guy kind of adds a little comedy in there. He's pretty entertaining to watch.
Right, I'll check them out.
Yeah, I really think you should.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot too, and I've never seen them come up, so it's good.
No? Oh wow. Yeah. Like again, you're missing so much if you don't. I recommend everybody follow Mark Moss and George Gammon, and start off with this one here because he goes in depth with the Federal Reserve and mass mandate stuff right now and what they're doing to try to protect themselves. He follows the IMF and kind of tries to put the best case scenario for the average person on what they could do to try to protect themselves from what's possibly coming, the inevitable, and they do a great job of explaining it.
Is he talking about inflation or deflation at this point?
They talk about both.
Okay.
But the end game is they're on the same page as me. There's going to be, you've seen that chart I showed you with money.
Right?
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah. Well, when all this mess first starts happening, you don't see that at all. You know what I mean? You don't see, there's a deflationary part.
Right.
And I think, well, of course, there's deflationary and there's inflationary, and then there's like hyperinflation. And the stuff that leads to that is because if you're printing money like it's no one's business, and then on the other side of it, you got to stay home and people can't work and they don't want to spend money. They're scared to spend money, even though you're giving it to them. So most people, you're scared to spend money. And they're not going to work. So when people are not working, you're producing less goods and services. So there's even less. So that's the asset. People measure wealth with the dollar, how many dollars are in their account. But that's not how you measure wealth. Wealth is goods and services, and the number of currency denominations that you have. That's you have a wealth of goods and services that you can buy. You can pay for that roofer to fix your roof, or you can buy yourself a new car, or you know what I mean. It's the car and it's the new roof that is valuable. It's not the dollars you have in your account.
Right, because
Just them dollars.
it's just a representation of what you're capable of doing, right? That's what a dollar is.
Yeah, it's a measuring stick for
Yeah.
to evaluate goods and services. You know what I mean? And people were incentivized back in the day, like you said, to save money and to if your skills were higher than the next guy, you were paid more because
Yeah.
that measuring stick valued you higher than this carpenter versus a super skilled carpenter or whatever. You know, it's just not the case anymore. Anyway, look into these guys. Start off with this video right here because he goes into depth about the Fed and actually steps that he's trying to take. And you can join his little group to make the Fed responsible and actually show us them the what they're doing behind the doors, because they're just shutting the door. And like that chart I showed you earlier, you know what I mean, they discontinued that, but there's a thing called the Freedom of Information Act that we all have and we're entitled to.
Well,
but
not to mention the Fed has never been audited, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
I'm not suggesting that. I just want that to be public record because I hear that doesn't work out well for people. But anyway.
Oh boy. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he'll give you they're very gifted on how they word things and how to present it to people like us. You know,
That's
if I understand, anybody can.
My worry, I have a pretty good idea of how to survive in an inflationary environment, but I don't really understand how to survive in a deflationary environment. So that's something I've been trying to teach myself about a little bit here and there, and haven't had very many good resources. So maybe when I watch them, that'll open up a little bit.
Raoul Paul, you've probably heard of him.
Yeah, I've watched your suggestion, I watched quite a bit of him.
He's a macro guy, and he does I mean, traditionally that's where he's from, and he used to work for Goldman Sachs for years and years and years, and he goes into the deflation, inflation, and how he presented it and stuff like that was no matter the path that this goes, Bitcoin wins,
right?
You know, which made it like super. That's why that's where I got that term irresponsibly long. When people are like, how much you got? I'm like, well, I'm irresponsibly long.
Yeah.
You know, means I'm kind of overly invested. To the traditional investor, they look at you like you're crazy. But if you've seen all the red flags and that's checking all them boxes on, I think we've gotten to a point where it's irresponsible not to be invested into it now.
Yeah.
I mean, at what point are you gonna, either get with it or get left behind?
Yeah, the train's coming down the tracks. Like it's either time to get off or get on the train. Get off the tracks or get on the train. But all right, I will check these guys out. Hopefully everybody else does too. What else you got?
That's it, I believe.
That's good because I got to run here in a few.
All right, man.
This is good though. I've been watching there's a guy, he's just a dude. He's called the Uneducated Economist, and I've been watching a lot of his stuff. He works at a lot.
Oh yeah, he's always like sitting in a car.
Yeah,
I think he drives a cab or something.
No, he works at a lumber yard.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he does lumber sales. So he's been talking about all the stuff that's going on with wood, and what he expects to happen. He's a big silver guy. So I haven't heard him talk about crypto, but I think he's older than us too. So I think
silver. I mean, we can do a whole episode on silver too, on the things that I see, and I think it's like super. It's the most manipulated thing.
Yeah.
Market in the United States by far.